About a year ago, a friend of mine, name is Ender, you've probably seen her in some of my older videos.
You're an asshole.
She introduced me to a simple game on Roblox that was an asymmetrical horror game. The only thing I knew about asymmetrical horror games at the time was, well, Dead by Daylight and how absolutely horrendous that game was as a whole. And then I played this Sonic fan game. I didn't know what it was. I knew it was based around Sonic.exe and all the horror elements based around it. And then it all of a sudden clicked. I started having fun with an asymmetrical horror game. I started learning the ins and outs of it. I grew increasingly more excited and more enthralled with the lore of it all. And then 0.2 happened.
Tastes like shit.
Colossus was added along with Tripwire. Fleetway was nowhere to be seen, and Silver and Blaze were added to the game. Silver was so overpowered on release that you could genuinely not kill him as a killer. Colossus was balanced, but everyone was complaining about him because of his one-shot combo. And Tripwire could lay 1,000 mines on the battlefield and you would be tripping over yourself trying to not avoid them and blow up due to spontaneous combustion. And then controversy after small little controversy that were really just nothing burgers piled up. And then the nail in the coffin for the game was when someone apparently doxed the original creator of the game and stalked them in person. Now we have a final batch in production by the game creator Sobi, and we don't know when we're getting that. We've seen bits and pieces of what it all entails, a new killer, Shadow returning to the game after he was hastily added beforehand, and oh my god, he can teleport across the map and is basically better Tails? I'm so fucked! But then, a little bit before the cancellation of Outcome Memories, a smaller dev team that was comprised of previous moderation team members of Outcome Memories, along with some previous game devs, a couple of unique individuals who were particularly talented at model work, got together. They started work on a new game. That game being the game we are talking about currently, Eternal Nightmares. A game that I am genuinely believing is the last hope for Sonic.exe asymmetrical horror games. Now, yes, there are a bunch of other Sonic.exe asymmetrical horror games coming out, but all of them are either trying to emulate what Outcome Memories did, or are trying to, how you say, be imitations of it. Eternal Nightmares is the first Sonic.exe asymmetrical horror game that I have seen that is not trying to directly copy the disaster or Outcome Memories, instead taking the best qualities of it and implementing them into the game while introducing their own unique spin, not just on the characters, but on the lore, the setting, and the killers themselves. This game is turning out to be the most impressive Roblox game I have ever seen, not just down to the renders, but also down to the story writing and the lore. Not to mention, they are always interacting with their community, unlike Outcome Memories. And while they are listening to feedback and criticism, they aren't fully listening to it. For example, the biggest reason why we see Colossus from Outcome Memories in his dilapidated state, where he can't even win a game unless if you're mega sweating and you're against average players, is literally because of the devs always listening to the majority of the community and then balancing the game around that as opposed to how the game actually plays later on. So you end up with incredibly strong survivors and incredibly weak killers, because I want to play my little emote game. Holy moly, the amount of votes I've seen where people are still saying that Fleetway is the best killer in the game, even after his nerfs, and the only thing he has going for him is iframes, while 2011X is sitting right there with Rage Mode being the only thing that can punch through coordinated teams. Oh my god. Anyways, a little sidetracked here. This video is more or less to share my thoughts on Eternal Nightmares as a whole, what I'm excited for with it, and what I genuinely would like to see in the game. I'm EJ, and this is why Eternal Nightmares is the last shining hope in the Sonic.exe community. Now, for a little bit of context, I never really was into Sonic.exe. Yeah, shocker. The autistic Sonic fan who started his channel out by doing Sonic.exe videos on Outcome Memories literally did not care for it. This is 100% true. I did not care for it to start with. I thought it was kind of boring. Like, it was like, oh, let's make evil ass rape Sonic, and he kills everyone and he's God. But then I was introduced to the actual lore of Lord X by an old acquaintance of mine, or friend, no longer friends, at least I think, I'm not entirely sure, by Lee. She only appeared in the background of a couple of videos, and one video that never saw the light of day because it got copyright struck. But she introduced me to the Sinister Minds album, and that opened my eyes. Holy moly. It just showed the talent and writing, and then I learned about the lore of Lord X and his entire world, and I'm like, hold up, wait, this actually is really good food and doesn't taste like a shitty meal prep that I got out of the freezer. So then I started looking into more characters, and lo and behold, there wasn't just Sonic, but he's evil. You also had like unique killers like Zephaniah, who was literally a virus-infested version of Mighty that could control the sands. What? Like, you're telling me that there's an evil version of Espio? You're telling me that there is a version of Tails that literally became an eldritch god due to people believing in his two tails being the god of Messiah or whatever the fuck? That's really cool, actually. And then, not to mention, there's a couple of Knuckles ones too. So it wasn't just that, so that kind of reeled me into it a bit more. And I started looking into the rosters of Outcome Memories, and then after that died, I got into Eternal Nightmares after I found out about it. It was really the roster of Eternal Nightmares that really, like, set me for a loop. Now, you gotta understand, when I first joined the community, we had a ton of survivors, but very few killers. The starting survivors have pretty much stayed the same since I joined, which is Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Eggman, Amy, Cream, Shadow, Big the Cat, and Vector. Matter of fact, two of the characters, while recording this video, that being Big the Cat and Sonic, have already gotten their last man standings. Sadly, Hog and Scorch is no longer on this list because the creator doesn't want a repeat of Outcome Memories, which I can't really blame him. And for future survivors, we have an absolutely insane cast of Silver Blaze, Rouge Omega, Metal Sonic, Mecha Sonic, Whisper, Tangle, Surge, Kit, Mighty Ray, Jet, Storm, Wave, Infinite, Honey, Espio, Bean, Bark, Linoleum, Trip, Fang, Gamma, and Typhon and Tyrant, which are basically the stand-in for Hog and Scorched. When I first joined, though, they only had one executioner planned, and to not repeat the same mistakes that Outcome Memories did, where you had Johnny Rage mode for about 6 months when the game released, they have increased it from just Hollow to Hollow and Crimson X, which is kind of crazy for a starting character, and not to mention they're basing his personality really well. Like, each one of the killers has a very visible personality with their designs. It's very impressive what they're doing, and it shows a lot of talent with what they are doing. And then for future executioners, Hellquill, which is their stand-in for, I believe, Satanos, after his creator asked him to be removed. 2011X, Wechidna, Faker, Colossus, Kiln, which is their stand-in for Furnace, EYX, No More Innocence, 2017X, Chimera, which I don't know what Chimera is, Manic, Zephaniah, which somehow apparently my suggestion for him may have gotten him in, and not just that, my suggestion for Zephaniah also got us the current voice actor for Zephaniah for Eternal Nightmares.
Spin your tails and try to soar, but little fox, you fly no more.
Shout out to ChrisMVP. We also have Zolgo and Mordred. Zolgo, I believe, is the Tails version, but I don't know who Mordred is. So if any of y'all could, like, tell me in the comments, that would be nice. But because the community is so interconnected and intertwined, you have a lot of theories going around about the lore. But not just that, suggestions are thrown out constantly, not just for skins, but for killers and character movesets. Like, of a matter of fact, some of my suggestions before I can't make images in the suggestions channel and give my art, fuck you, whoever posted porn in the suggestions channel that literally screwed that over. So now I have to be level 25. Thank you.
Good night, old friend.
Sorry, that seemed to be a really bad trigger point of mine. Anywho, some of my suggestions became really popular. Not just Zephaniah, but also my suggestions for Tangled, Whisper, Move Kit, and then I also suggested Rough and Tumble as possible survivors, and they were incredibly well received, except for Mecha Chiller. The community is genuinely phenomenal with Eternal Nightmares. It's full of passionate people who genuinely want to see this game succeed Outcome Memories, and so far it is proving itself at that. Not to mention, we haven't really seen much game footage of it except for like small little clips. 2 clips from the start of the game when they just had the models, and we finally got to see a newer clip of the game about a little bit more than a week ago, which is kind of crazy in of itself that we are seeing gameplay when this game has only been in development for 8 months. According to one of the main devs of the game, at least from when I was in VC with Nox, and I can't remember her name, she's currently the voice actor of Surge, said that the reason why it's taking so long to get any kind of gameplay out is that the main coder of Eternal Nightmares has basically their own coding language, that if they were going to teach more people how to code in his language, it would slow down game development, which is kind of crazy. Because apparently the game is incredibly well optimized even in its early states with everything that they have working on. So I'm impressed, to say the least. Not to mention, they also line out all the game information that they have about the game. Now, keep in mind, we don't know specifics about, oh, how much health will survivors have? How long will it take the revive? We know that survivors are going to have a second life, but the biggest thing, though, is just the roster in of itself is just incredible. I still can't believe that we have Colossus looking like an absolute fucking monster in a game like this. But not just that, let's talk about the lore of Eternal Nightmares real quick. I just hit my microphone. Fuck! They have a website called Restoration HQ Archives, where it is basically an ARG where we actually get to slowly unlock the story of the game as time goes on with new reports and stuff like that, such as anomalies, which, to be fair, the anomalies explain things, but things like Hollow are fully explained in lore, and we get unique little website movements with it that lead to actual really cool ARGs that is currently being solved by a large team of the community that are also, I'm just going to call the lore keepers, from what I can understand, where they're basically figuring out everything. Not just that, we also get to see all the personnels that are going to be in the game. Like, for example, Sonic the Hedgehog has his, Miles Tails. Sorry. I'm dyslexic, please don't kill me, I know I'm retarded. Genuinely portrays itself as a very serious ARG. It doesn't take itself in like a joking manner like Outcome Memories did. Outcome Memories never had any lore to it. Apparently, it also, according to the main lore writer and Surge's voice actor, apparently the game didn't have any lore to begin with, and she was like, hey, how about I write you some lore? And she's basically been the main lore writer of the game. If I can find her Discord tag, I'll throw it up on screen. But I apologize if that's not here. But we get even more characters like Eggman. And if you don't know, Eggman, Sonic, Miles, and Big the Cat were originally the only ones like shown off in the Restoration HQ files. However, recently, at least from what I can tell, since I haven't checked the website in a while. Knuckles' data was revealed. Cream the Rabbit was also one of the original. Shadow was also revealed. I believe Omega, Amy Rose, and Vector have also been revealed, which their renders look so much better, especially Omega. Omega's is really cool. Like, you're telling me that I have to fight this as a killer? I'm gonna be fucked. But not just that, my GOAT Vector is on the starting roster, so I am very happy. And apparently Charmy was murdered in a very gruesome way that is literally not allowed to be said at all. And I am wondering why. You can also check out on the website what's been recently revealed about it. Another really good thing that it shows is how it shows how close people are to solving it with integrity, such as Calamity History at 2%, and you have things like Anomaly Blank, or whatever the fuck this jargled text is, at 9%. At least that's what I've been told by people. We also have Corrupted Data, which I believe has to be solved through ARG stuff. You also have certain military bases, and you can also see the whole Restoration HQ and how it works. Plus, with the lore, apparently, if I recall correctly through seeing lore videos and what the developers have said in VC, the lore of Eternal Nightmares is weird. Essentially, Satanos, or now Hellquill, I guess, has basically created a buffer point for EXEs traveling through time and space, getting stuck in this reality. Now, some of the EXEs are originally from this world, but others are not. I believe creatures that do originate from the Eternal Nightmares world are all the original ones, such as Hellquill, Hollow, Kiln, and Manic are all original to the Eternal Nightmares world. But characters like Colossus, Crimson X, Wekidna, and EYX and 2011X are all kind of like they're just stuck here. They fell here somehow, and it's really interesting on what they're planning on for the lore, because it's very clear that they're planning on going very in depth with this. They're not planning on half-assing any of this. And that's what's really incredible to me. And now, to close out this quick rant of a video, this game is genuinely feeling like a love letter to all of Sonic.exe. I am genuinely looking forward to the future of the game and what it holds. Even just small little tidbits. I want to see what the gameplay is like. And I really am absolutely ecstatic about the game. Like, it is the only thing I've been excited for from Roblox, as much as I fucking hate Roblox. But there are gems. There are people who can make amazing games on it. It's Steam and Steel, Mesozoico, Prior Extinction, Outcome Memories, and now we have Eternal Nightmares? Like, oh my god. This tastes so good. This food is so good. If I'd have to make a list for my hopes and wants for the game, here are my hopes. To make two separate modes, a global ranking board and a competitive ranking board. That way you know who the best players are and the most consistent players are at the game. And then maybe for people who reach those ranks, make a separate Discord for them to ask for balance changes. This was the biggest problem I saw with Outcome Memories, where they listened to the whole community, people who didn't know how to play the game or weren't particularly good at the game, they would listen to and completely base the game around them, and they literally killed off so much of their game. The competitive Outcome Memories Discord server is in fucking shambles, dude. You have no idea. I would say having two separate modes would help a lot, but that may be a far off future thing. If not, just get together like a sample group of really good players and really bad players and ask them for balance advice if you're not too sure about a balancing change. Of course, this is what playtesters are for, but you need a wide range of playtesters, so I don't know what's going on with that. Please don't kill me. Secondly, I would like to see more killers. Right now, as it stands, survivors outnumber killers, and I think adding a couple more killers would be useful. Like, I respect Eternal Nightmares trying to make sure that every killer is completely unique. That's the entire reason why there's so few of them compared to Outcome Memories, which, holy shit, how the fuck were they supposed to get 22 killers in a game with less survivors than killers? Like, what am I fucking reading right now? Like, look at this. But Eternal Nightmares is kind of suffering from the opposite problem, where they have so many survivors that I don't know how they're going to make each one of them unique, which I'm sure there will be a way, but we'll see. So all I'm suggesting is 1 or 2 more killers just to make it so it's 2 to 1 exact instead of like nearly 3 to 1 how it is currently. Hollow and Crimson X are phenomenal first killers that I think would fit the game really well. Oh, and give 2 completely different playstyles. If I recall correctly, they said that Hollow is going to be a transformation-based killer and Crimson X is going to be Trickster and Illusions, I think. I don't know. I'm just going off of general chat discussions and little tidbits that I've been dropped by certain devs in the community. As for the other killers, I don't want anything to be changed. This is just a phenomenal roster where it's not all Sonics, but they're evil and want to kill you. Give me Wekina. Faker is great. Colossus is... Before you say that's just Sonic, it's not. He is... I wouldn't say that's Sonic at all. Like, you have ones like No More Innocence, Chimera, Manic, Zephaniah, Zolgo. Like, all these unique characters that aren't just Sonic but evil. So it makes it so the game is actually way more interesting to chew into. Maybe you could bring some original characters from the Sonic comics, like that one version of Starlight where he's Dr. Frankenstein. Yes, I know Starlight's technically missing in the lore, and we don't know what's going on with him, but maybe that's what he did. He maybe siphoned some of the satanic energy from the world into himself and became an undead. And you know what? Fuck it. If you can, like, if different EXEs are coming in from different realities and different worlds, maybe get Tangled from the Metal Virus AU comic series that's been, like, circulating around. I think an infection-based killer would be really cool. Well, I might make move kits for these guys in the future and upload them in the suggestion channel if this video gets big enough and I can actually get terms to post images again. For my final, like, hope for the game, my hope is, for the hub worlds, is that we get missions like how Bite by Night gave us, where we could log in, get missions, and get rewards for those missions. And even a little minigame area. Who knows? Oh, so my idea would basically be pop into Restoration HQ, select your survivor, and you can walk around in between games and rounds. Go to a giant screen to spectate or watch the game, but if you want to buy EXEs or EXE cosmetics, you could go to another EXE character that's like neutral, like Lord Mortis. Maybe he pops into the Restoration to sell data that he's gotten. What's better to get data from other EXEs than an EXE who used to be them? Someone who knows how they tick. I like to imagine that Lord Mortis doesn't even have a use for the money. He just hoards the coins as a fuck you, or rings, I guess. As for, like, Survivor cosmetics and survivors that you could purchase, you could go to Night and Dawn to get them. Oh my god, I love these two characters. They're so cool from the comics. And then maybe for, like, a little mini-games area with arcade machines and, like, Flappy Bird or whatever the fuck, like, small little, like, mini games that you can program into the arcade machines. You could have that one beaver dude from Sonic Boom as, like, the guy who mans it, and you could get unique dialogue. You could even have Grease the orangutan give you, like, special particle effects or weapon skins. Like, let's say you're playing Tails and you want to change out his cannon. Well, he'll sell you a new, like, cannon skin that maybe looks like Heavy's minigun or, like, the Wrangler from TF2. Or maybe he'll give, like, Sonic or Knuckles unique effects instead of fire. Maybe it's, like, water or something like that. Like, just unique stuff that would help, like, make your character more unique. As for, like, missions, like, I want there to be like 2 separate factions that you can do missions from. Maybe Vanilla or Vector would give you like survivor-based missions, like heal this much HP in like a certain period of time, maybe stun a killer or EXE this many times, or something along those lines. And then maybe Sage would give you killer-based missions, like maybe like get data on the amount of damage a killer does. So like it would tell you, so it would basically be like saying, get this much damage as a killer, like 5,000 damage as a killer in one day, or like down 5 survivors in one game, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like little missions that can give you rings as rewards so you could buy more cosmetics and stuff like that. Incentivize a reason for people to get into the game every day and enjoy themselves. You can't really get that with outcome memories. With outcome memories, you log in, play a couple games, and then get off when you get pissed. Incentivize people to come back to the game. That's why Bite by Night consistently had so many players on, including with Forsaken. It was literally all because you had missions that you could log on to and then get off. So giving some kind of incentive to just hop on, play, and do those missions for rewards would really help keep player retention. But those are just my hopes and wants for the game. And I genuinely am excited for Eternal Nightmares. This game is genuinely shaping up to be a gem within the Sonic.exe community, and I genuinely cannot wait for this game to come out. I know it's a little of a rant video, probably teetering on 20 minutes, but I really wanted to talk about this absolutely phenomenal game that I think you guys should check out 100%. This game is one of the few things I'm looking forward to within recent video games as of late. And I pray that you guys succeed at what you guys are trying to make. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, God bless, and subscribe for more.
Hey, how's it going? Now, how do you get 500? Master Sheep!